Options. Options are the one thing that destroy an insurance agent's opportunity for a maximized successful career. I'm going to tell you why that's the case. We're going to look at a book here briefly that I absolutely love that demonstrates an example of what it should be like in the business. And we're going to talk about the issues with options and kind of how to overcome them the best we can as a new and intermediate/advanced agent. My name is David Duford. I own Duford Insurance Group. I train agents nationally to sell final expense, Medicare, annuities, and health insurance. If you'd like to learn more about how all this works, go to davidduford.com/FAQ. So in putting together this video, I'm reminded of probably my favorite insurance sales-based book that's quasi-motivational, quasi-autobiography, and it's from a gentleman named Randall Baskin. The book is entitled Growing Rich, Success in Business, Success in Life, Applied with Faith and Principles. If you can find this book, you're a lucky person. It's a very difficult book to get. I wish I could buy the resale rights to it because I think I'd make this book super popular. So let me tell you a little bit about this book because it directly relates to a growing issue I see a lot of otherwise intelligent, smart, and successful agents fall into the trap of. And I think you'll kind of pick up on the process as we go through this and as I kind of elaborate more. So Randall Baskin, a little story about him. He grew up in the Podunk area of Middle Tennessee, tin roof, dirt floor. Dad was a drunk. Mom had some sort of mental health disorder. Just a terribly stressful time in his childhood. As he grew up, he went to work just like most men do and was presented with a job opportunity in a newspaper, kind of blind job opportunity. Wasn't sure what it was, went down, and sure enough, it was an insurance sales opportunity. He didn't really have much other opportunity, so he started doing it. And he applied himself, did very well, and over the years eventually migrated into the Medicare space where he created the company American Continental, which is still based out of Brentwood, and then eventually sold it off to, I believe, Genworth, who then was sold off to Aetna not too long ago. And now all those Aetna products you see if you're in the final expense space or Medicare was originally American Continental, and Randall Baskin is the person who created and started the company decades ago. So why do I bring up Randall Baskin's story? Because I think Randall Baskin lived in a simpler time than we do now. Randall Baskin didn't have options. He saw one job ad to sell insurance, and he took it and jumped all in. And while we say it's important to jump all in and kind of damn the torpedoes, the truth is it's really difficult to do that. There are so many opportunities in this space. There's almost an opportunity overflow. And now you've coupled that, where even 10 years ago, I didn't see much of it, with a constant barrage of people like me, frankly, who are on YouTube telling you that final expense is the greatest, or telesales is the greatest, or mortgage protection, or so on and so forth. And they're all right. And they're all right in the sense that it's true. There is an abundance of opportunity in this space, but the outcome to a lot of us that are in the position of having a natural disposition towards entrepreneurship is that we have a hard time kind of segmenting and really putting on blinders to truly say yes to that one thing when we live in an environment where everything is also telling us yes constantly. And yes, that may be easy to say no to everything else but that one thing, but it's not when things get tough. When things get rough, many of us start to resort to thinking that change, the grass is greener on the other side, is the way around to solve the problem. And I think this is something I have a lot of empathy for in this business, is because it's not as easy as it used to be to just put on blinders and focus. We know that when we talk to successful business owners, entrepreneurs, millionaires, billionaires, that they all say focus is critical. But you have to understand that focus in action consistently over time is saying yes to that one thing despite the opportunities around you. And that is really hard, especially when things get tough. And so the thing is, we can't eliminate options, right? I mean, you're going to get suggested videos on YouTube if you decide to go that route. You're going to probably be attracted to Facebook groups and get involved with people in this business. You're going to hear different ideas. And you got to know how to deal with this. And I think having a little conversation about this is probably the best route to go, because again, this is a problem. Agents who are doing otherwise good struggle, get frustrated, and switch gears too early. So how would you deal with this? How do you overcome this? Well, the thing I will tell you is this. I think you should look at joining your agency or joining the product or selling the product that you want to. You need to look at this as if you were to look at it like a marriage, right? Hopefully you agree with me that marriage should be forever, at least in its ideal form. You want to have a commitment for your lifetime, for richer or for poorer, for good health or bad. And because if you don't do that, it will end up in divorce. And divorce is highly emotional, it's highly expensive, and it causes a mental and emotional state that's not primed for performance at peak levels. And so my point is, in thinking about this business, I think it's imperative before you jump in and do this business with all your heart and soul in mind, that you make this decision that this business, this niche, this agency you're joining all aligns with what you want out of it, that the agency is a good fit for your personality and disposition type, that you can realistically align with the outlines that they have for you as far as expectations on leads, the culture of the agency, that kind of thing. And go through this process of personally vetting yourself that you are actually a good pick for it, because we know the truth is the vast majority of agents don't do any of this. They come into this with this idea of riches just around the corner without hard work and sacrifice and prices to pay, and then are shocked when none of that actually turns out because they've been sold a line, a bill of goods, as they say. So you don't want to be, and again, if you go down this route, so commonly what I see is agents who, aren't married to this business through the thick and the thin, is they do this kind of grass is greener approach, or they become disillusioned. They start to develop a conspiratorial mind towards the business and say, well, it's really just a racket to sell leads. It's BS. It's not legitimate. And they use this to kind of justify their own shortcomings. And granted, understandably, they do that. But truly, the better route to do is really discern if the course of action truly was for them, and certainly the agency and product, was it truly for them. So if you're starting off, my advice to you, again, this is really important. Think about what Randall Baskin went through, we talked about earlier. He jumped right in. He had that decision, that focus, because there really, in a sense, I believe, was less of those distractions as there are today. So you have to look at the reality and realize you're not in that environment. You're in an environment where you have to slow things down. You have to do your due diligence. My advice is to follow the steps that I mentioned earlier getting started. Don't jump into love at first sight in this business. Again, there's a lot of smart, intelligent salespeople that run these agencies that are telling you everything you want to hear. You have to have some skepticism toward that. You have to slow it down. This business is fantastic, but with the wrong partnership, it's a terrible nightmare. And just like a marriage, you don't want to ruin it before it gets started. Now, for those advice for those who are in an agency where maybe they're feeling this sense of disillusionment setting in, what would I say to kind of give you some guidance? Again, start to discern this for yourself. Is this a relationship, a partnership that you see for life? Is this a partnership that you feel that you get along with this person? Has the interaction and engagement been honest and trustworthy, right? Have you been lied to? Have you been deceived? Do you feel like you're being neglected? The promises they've given, have any of them been broken? This should not happen in a relationship that's best set up. Now, realistically, things don't always go as they should, and all of us understand that we're all less than perfect, but we should have some kind of processes to circumvent that stuff, or to heal those issues that happen along the way. But if you're not even getting that, you're setting yourself up for failure, because you're joining an agency that doesn't have your interest in mind. It has their own interest in mind that don't align with what you want. And if you're in that position, my true advice would be to just go back to square one. Do what we've described earlier. Do your due diligence. Really ask yourself what you want out of this business. It's okay to have to switch gears and go a different direction with a different agency. Yeah, it's frustrating, but before it gets worse, because usually things get worse than they get better when there's already problems, instead of doing that process and getting really bad, stop it now. Have an honest conversation with yourself and what you want, and see if any of the relationship or the business is reparable with your agency. And if it's not, if it's just truly not an aligned type of relationship, pause, hit the pause button, figure out what to do, and go somewhere else. The good news is that this business is really awesome. There's a lot of opportunity in it. You just got to make sure you align all the odds in your favor. And I think that's the big thing that I've seen over the years is you got to make sure you've got, again, what are all the things you need in your favor? You have to have a great relationship or the potential for a great, honest, open, transparent relationship with your agency. You've got to have a great product with an upside potential that's more than a year or two, has a long-term opportunity. You've got to join an agency that has access to leads that you can afford or a prospecting system that you'll do. You certainly have to have the training and the support, and the culture of the agency, whatever it is, has to match your culture and kind of disposition as well. And anytime you start taking one or more of those away, it just makes this business more and more miserable. And you don't want it to be miserable because it can be awesome. I'm the living proof of that. I've had to cycle through a couple of agencies before I eventually just created my own to create the vision that I wanted and to partner with those agents that matched what I found valuable. So there's a little advice on the things that destroy agents, and it's the options. The business is too easy to get into. You have to respect that, and you really have to slow down and think, what do you want out of this business? Where do I want to go? And who really is a good partner to be with to accomplish what I want to accomplish? My name is David DeFord. If you want to learn more about joining DeFord Insurance Group, go to daviddeford.com/FAQ. And as always, thanks for watching.